Okay, let's just run through this. Hypotenuse, opposite the angle, adjacent. These are what you know. So SOHCAHTOA, I'll just write it out here. You don't have to write it out every time, but if you write it out every time, it'll help you learn it off. A and O is together for tan. So tan angle, remember, write that, tan angle. In order now is opposite over adjacent. So tan, your angle is just A, opposite over adjacent. You're bringing over the tan, so it becomes inverse 11 over 16. So shift in your calculator, shift tan 11 divided by 16 gives you an answer of 34.5 degrees. On this one, hypotenuse, opposite the angle and adjacent. You know the adjacent, you know the hypotenuse. SOHCAHTOA, you've got A and H, it's the middle one. So cos the angle, in order now, adjacent over hypotenuse. Cos the angle is called B, adjacent is 16, hypotenuse is 19. When you're bringing the cos over, because you're just bringing the three letters, it becomes inverse. So you write cos with a wee minus 1. So shift cos 16 divided by 19 gives you an angle of 32.6 centimetres. Number 17, opposite the right angle, opposite your angle, and the other side. You know the opposite, you know the adjacent. O and A, they're together for tan. So tan, the angle in order is opposite over adjacent. So tan, your angle is called C, opposite over adjacent. Bring your tan over and it becomes inverse tan. So minus 1, 0.8 divided by 5.3. So in your calculator, shift tan 0.8 divided by 5.3 should give you an answer of 8.58. This one here, opposite the right angle. Always start with that right angle. Opposite your angle and the other side. These are the sides that you know. O and H are together here for S. So sine the angle, put them in order, opposite over hypotenuse. Your angle is D, opposite over hypotenuse. Bring this sine over and it's inverse. So inverse sine 11.6 over 13.2. So inverse sine 11.6 divided by 13.2 gives you an answer of 61.5 degrees. Down the bottom, opposite the right angle, opposite your angle and the other side. This one you're looking for the adjacent, and this one you're looking for, or so you know the opposite, O and A, tan. So tan, the angle, is opposite over adjacent. So tan, your angle is 72, opposite is 8, adjacent is A. Oh, it's back to different type 1. Okay, bring your A up, so it's A times tan 72. Now this time you're moving the whole thing, not just the word, and the whole thing moves over to be a division. So A equals 8 divided by tan 72, giving you an answer of 2.6 centimetres. Number 20, opposite the right angle, opposite your angle, and the other side. I want the other side and I know the opposite. O and A is tan. So tan the angle, opposite over adjacent. So tan, your angle is 28, opposite is 53, and adjacent is B. You can't have anything in the bottom line, so you bring it up to multiply it. And hopefully you know that comes over now as a division. And just straightforward in your calculator, 53 divided by tan 28 gives you an answer of 99.7 centimetres. Okay, going to just go on to the next page. I'll see how we got on with these. So these are all a bit of a mixture, I think. Hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. You know the adjacent, and you want the hypotenuse. I'll write out my SOHCAHTOA so I can see it nice and clearly. At the top of the page, A and H is in the middle of a cos. So cos the angle is adjacent over hypotenuse. My angle is 66. My adjacent is 4.1. Hypotenuse is C. You can't have what you're looking for in the bottom, so bring it up and it becomes a multiply. And now you want c in its own, so you bring your cos over and it becomes a division. So 4.1 divided by cos 66 gives you an answer of 10 meters. Number 23. Hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. I want the hypotenuse, I know the opposite, O and H, together there with S. So sine the angle, always write that out, sine the angle, opposite over hypotenuse. Don't be tempted to skip out that line. So sine 58 is opposite over hypotenuse. Bring this D up, because it's in the bottom row, which you can't have. And now you're looking for D in its own. So D is 7.8 divided by sine 58. So 7.8 divided by sine 58 gives me 9.2 meters. Okay, nearly finished. Hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. You know. A and H is together for C for cos. So cos the angle is adjacent over hypotenuse. So cos your angle is called E, adjacent over your hypotenuse. That was one of these ones. I want to get rid of just the cos. So when I'm just getting rid of the letters, it becomes cos to the minus 1. And I'm just reminding you how to put that in the calculator. Shift cos 8.3 divided by 12.1 gives you an angle of 46.7 degrees. And number 24. Hypotenuse, opposite, and this is the adjacent. So you know these two. O and H, if you look back up at the top there, they're together for S for sine. So sine the angle, always follow the order, opposite over hypotenuse. So sine angle is F, opposite over hypotenuse. You probably figured out that if they ask you for the angle, it's an inverse one. So inverse or shift sine 6.1 divided by 7.6 gives you an answer of 57.4. And that's degrees, and you have meters in there. For the next two, I'm just going to do them out on a post-it. So if you've done it so it's not too squashed. Actually, it might just be a piece of paper now. Can't find a post-it. So we'll just run for this one. Number 25. ABC is a right angled triangle. Now, if you remember, the middle letter tells you where the angle is. So angle at A, and it's 90. So CB, it doesn't matter what way around you put those. A to B is 28. Angle, middle letter C, tells you it's 41. And I want B to C. Call it X. Okay, so let's go with this one. Hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. I want this, I know this. So, Toa, O and H. That's that one. So sine the angle, remember to always write sine the angle, is opposite over hypotenuse. So it's sine 41 equals 28 over x. What I'm looking for is in the bottom. Bring that across and multiply. Now, I'm moving the whole thing, not just the sine. So when I'm moving the whole thing, it becomes a division. So 28 divided by sine 41, which is 42.7 degrees. And number 26, our last one here. PQR is a right angled triangle, so let's draw it out. Middle letter Q, that's where the right angle is. P to Q, so it doesn't matter where the RTR. P to Q is 65, and Q to R is 102. And I am looking for the angle of R, so we'll call this my angle. Hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. These are the ones I know. Using your SOHCAHTOA, O and A, it's going to be tan. So tan the angle, opposite over adjacent. So tan the angle, 65 over 102. Bring that over, because it's just the letters. Now remember it's inverse. In your calculators, inverse tan 65 divided by 102 gives me an answer of 32.5 degrees.